Hello and welcome to my Clue 3 deep dive for the Color Popportunity socks. Today is July 23rd. Can you even believe it? The first clue came out on July 9th and it feels like that was not long ago. But here we are, with Clue 3. I have not looked ahead. I have not anything. I literally just woke up, if you can't tell. It's 5:13 in the morning. And all I can see right now is that this clue is only 4 pages long. So it's a small clue. And I did see there's a video, but I have not looked at it or anything. And I'm just going to get ready to take a look and see what I can get done this morning before I go to work. I did get both socks done. I finished the cuffs and the heel flaps. And I wove in all the ends but one, which is the very last end. So pretty happy with that. I think I did show you on the last video, I did pick the brioche heel option. So that's the outside. And then the inside is this pretty orange that like no one's ever going to see. And I'm assuming we're going to start with picking up the gusset stitches because that's what makes sense to me, but I could be completely wrong. I do have a dentist appointment today after work, so I don't think I'm going to take these with me. I will take something because I have to wait a whole hour for the appointment. I guess we'll see. We'll see how involved this is, whether or not I can take it. But I will give you a progress update when I have one. Okay, I got started with the right sock. That is... Gosh, the lighting is so terrible. That is what I have right now. It's a bit hard to see with the heel behind it. But there is the first section, which is a short row wedge. So you see, we started by picking up along the top of the foot with the pink. And one gripe I have, Stephen West told us that in section 4, the chevrons, we could add extra to make the leg wrap around our foot. But since then, in no other clue has he talked about how to address those extra stitches. And it's really frustrating. So maybe it's a good thing. When I first picked up these pink stitches, I, half asleep, did not read the pattern correctly, and I picked up in gray. So it wasn't until I was completely done with that that I realized I'd done it wrong. So when I did the pickup in the gray, I picked up one extra section, which is, it covered how many stitches I had. And so the pattern for my size anyway has you pick up and knit 3 and make 1. So I had one extra section of that, so 4 extra stitches, meaning the top of my foot had 36 instead of 32. So as I moved on with that clue, it turns into... it's a bit hard to see, but it turns into eyelets. It's just knit 2 together yarn overs for eyelets. And in those eyelets, there was no way that I could think of to reduce my number of stitches from the 36 to 32. So, of course, I had to rip that out, and then I picked up with the pink. And when I picked up with the pink, over here, just in section 4 where the chevrons are, I did not do the make ones. And so that ended up with 12 stitches, exactly what I was supposed to have. And, you know, because it's already eyelets, like it doesn't look too gappy or anything, I don't think. So that's what I'm doing. Hopefully it works out. I've had to rip and reknit so many times in this project that... I just don't know anymore. It's a very strange construction, and definitely, unfortunately, this does not feel like something that a new sock knitter could knit, even with all the instructions, just because of those variables that then later are not addressed. So, like I said, I finished the first short row wedge, and I have added in the... It's hard to tell right now, but it's another eyelet section, but in contrast color too, the orange. So that's that. So I'm wondering, again, I haven't looked, I haven't watched forward in the video. I don't know what's coming, but I'm wondering if we're going to knit the whole top of the sock in this clue, and then the next clue, maybe we knit the bottom and either graft them together or do intarsia. Would that technically be intarsia? I don't know. Knit them together, whatever you want to call it. So yeah, I'm not going to bring this with me for after work before the dentist, just because I'd have to bring my iPad and it needs to charge and all that stuff. So I will work on it maybe tonight. What I am going to bring with me is my second Desert Vista Dye Work sock is just to the gusset, and I need to finish that by the end of the month. So there is the start of clue 3. We are well on our way to a pair of socks. Hello and good morning. It's July 24th and it's about 5:22 in the morning, so very early. Can't even say bright and early because it's still dark. I did get a little bit of knitting done on clue 3 of the Color Popportunity socks last night, and this is what I have so far. So I don't have my Knit Companion app open, but I believe that's section 1, 2, and 3, I think. And so I have a pink stripe, an orange stripe, and a yellow stripe with these wedges, and I'm just going to open it. I think there's one left. Let's see. Yeah, one. There might be other little details, but if there is, not much. So I have one more pink stripe and another wedge to kind of square that off, which I have not looked at anyone else's projects yet or Steven's pictures or anything. I feel like this is supposed to be straight, and it doesn't look very straight to me. Anyway, I'm hoping it's all going to work out. I do not want to rip out another section of this pattern again. I am knitting this section on 2.25 millimeter needles. I did the pickup with the 2.75 just to kind of make that transition a little bit better. But I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. I did have a thought last night as I was falling asleep, and I'm wondering if the gusset section, which is really hard to show right now because it's just on so many needles and stuff. But anyway, here's the top of the foot here and the heel, and so the gusset section would be here. I wonder if we aren't going to knit like this, like stripes. I don't know. I'm probably way off because I usually am, but that is my guess. And I'm definitely going to have this clue done today. I cannot believe how fast. I mean, of course, I have a second sock to do, but as far as I can tell in the pattern, it's essentially going to be the exact same thing, except for maybe, well, of course, the pickup area will be different. So I think those directions are different, but everything else seems to be exactly the same. So I will get that knit up and I will show you when it's finished, and hopefully in better lighting because, like I said, it's just super dark and hard to show anything, even with the overhead dining room lights. So yeah, we'll see where this goes, and I don't think there's too many surprises left for this clue. I am anxious to look at the other pictures, so I might do that, but I'll hold off till I finish knitting this. It is time for me to be heading out the door for work. I'd much rather stay here and knit, but I did want to show you my progress. I finished that last wedge that I was talking to you about, and I did read ahead at the very last bit of the pattern there, and Stephen mentions to try on the sock to see if it will reach the tip of your pinky toe yet, and I can tell just by looking at this there's no way I'm anywhere near that. Also, I know that my row gauge is much shorter than his and what the pattern suggests. So there's a little trick for that, or the hint in the pattern as to what to do. So I'll explain that in just a moment. But I thought I would try my Steven sock over a knit sock that I have right here, just to see kind of where it's at. I did measure the first 2 wedges, and it looked like it was taking up about 2 inches. So I just have to determine whether or not I have another 2 inches before my pinky toe, because he says that there's a workaround for adding some extra length, extra rows. So there you can see kind of what it's looking like. And let's see, that doesn't look like 2 inches. So what he recommends to do is, what he did in the pattern himself, is to knit another 3rd and 4th wedge. Oh, it's going to be close. I'm going to really have to try it on, I think. Let's see. Because it looks like another 2 would be just maybe past my pinky toe. Let's see how long this section is without stretching it from where I picked up the stitches. Yeah, it's right at 4 inches. So usually I knit my sock, of course that's from the heel, the edge of the heel, I knit to about 8 1/4 inches before starting the toe. But again, the flap doesn't start normally the flap. The instep stitches don't start back where the heel starts. So yeah, I'm gonna have to try it on, but since I'm running out the door for work, that's not very convenient. So I'll do that when I get home. I'll probably look at some other people's pages to see what they did and see if I should knit 2 more or not. But yeah, that's what the clue looks like. Whatever I decide, I will show you again in some better lighting so that you actually have a clue what it looks like, because this is so bad. But yeah, this is the strangest sock construction I have for sure ever seen. Have you ever knit a sock like this? If so, I want to know what the pattern's called. All right, off to work I go. I'm home from work and I had the opportunity to try on my sock. You can see the heel is where it should be and everything else looks like it is. So here is where my top of my foot ends. It's very hard to tell, I know, but oh, excuse me. I think it is about 2 inches from where I'm at to the end of my toe. So it's hard to tell, but I'm going to go ahead and knit another 2 triangles here for another square and hope that it's not too long. I am noticing I always knit a 32 stitch, well 64, but 32 would be the top. And this just looks really narrow. Can you see how much of my foot is not covered? It will stretch, but I don't know. I have so many doubts, just like every other clue I've had so far. All right, here it is. I knit a total of 6 wedges. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And if you can see, it really does cover up my pinky toe completely. So I don't know what that means. I'm gonna leave it. I think it's gonna be okay. Also, I had a thought for how it is not really as wide as my foot. Maybe I'll do more stitches for the sole of the foot. We'll just have to see what that ends up looking like. All right, now you actually see my face instead of just my foot. Yeah, here's the sock. I really don't know what to think about this thing. It's honestly, I have never had so many emotions about a sock in my life. I don't know what to think. Obviously, if I would have stopped up here, it'd be quite too short, and where it's at, I think it's just a touch too long. But my row gauge is short, so technically if my row gauge is the same for the toe, then possibly it's going to work out. Or honestly, I might end up ripping out this whole entire thing and having to reknit it on a bigger needle and then do less wedges, simply because I mentioned that how it's not really covering the top of my foot. Again, I don't know. This is making me doubt everything I ever knew about knitting socks. I checked Ravelry and I've knit somewhere between 118 and 136 pairs of socks. Closer to the 136, because there's a feature in there. If you go into the advanced, you can look at finished versus not finished. And when I click finished, it's 118. When I click the not finished, it's 136. And when I first started using that, I'm not sure that I completely grasped the concept of marking things as finished. So it's very possible I have finished pairs that are not marked finished. Also, we know I have plenty of sock whips. So it's somewhere in that range. That's a lot of socks. That's I mean, on a low end, that's close to 200 and almost 240 socks, individual socks. And that's a range of sizes and different people. And like, what I'm trying to say is, this is not my first rodeo. I don't even know. So yeah, I think I'm gonna wrap up this video here. I'm on the fence about whether or not I knit the second sock or wait until next week just to see what happens. I may or may not. I just don't know at this point. But one thing I did see in the Ravelry group, just in case you're not on Ravelry or you haven't checked it, you haven't read every single post, a lot of people are, what's the word I want? Reversing? I feel like that's not the right word. Mirroring, that's the word I want. So where this wedge is fat over here for the left sock, it would look exactly the same. Like you, there we go. So you have both socks and they would literally, like this, the thin section here would start here. So it would just be exactly the same. Well, they're mirroring it to where instead of starting with the thin part here, they would start with the thick part. So they're mirrored. So in my head, that makes them look more like a pair because we have the mirroring up at the top. So it just makes sense. And a couple people who have done that are a little bit worried that maybe that will mess things up. But I don't really know how it could. The only way I can see, and granted, I have no idea where this is going, but it could change, obviously, your picking up. If it tells you to pick up in the contrast color section a stitch, but technically you're over here, it just would not completely coincide. I don't know. This is hard. It's way harder than knitting a shawl as a surprise. Anyway, that's it. I would love to hear your thoughts on this sock so far, especially if you are knitting the pair. Do you feel like your normal sock knitting gauge is giving you what you expect in this sock, or are you having struggles like I am and having to rip and re-knit and doubt yourself the entire way? So curious. Please let me know. Maybe I'm not alone here. Maybe I am. All right, until clue 4, you'll see if I chose to knit the second sock or not. I probably will. We'll see. Okay, I'm going to quit audibly thinking here on camera and wish that you all are having better success than I am. I will talk to you in the clue 4 video, and I'll see you soon. Bye.